We're going to talk next about recognition and the meaning of being able to put a name to their experience and to their experiences, and be able to tell them that although they think nothing happened, that nothing is not nothing. And they do have reason to feel bad. And there is a whole science and a whole explanation and a whole world of people like them who feel these ways, and it's not their fault. And to give them an explanation that you understand why they feel bad and that you can name it and validate it, that is a hugely significant, meaningful, powerful intervention. So, recognition, if you can do that, if that is the piece of neglect-informed psychotherapy that you are able to implement and implement right away, and you can notice some of these markers, and you can help them to make sense of some of the things that they may never have noticed about themselves and understand why they are that way, it has huge meaning. And it absolves them somehow of feeling so much guilt and shame and such responsibility for everything. They're used to being invisible. They're used to being blamed. They're used to being unseen, not understood, not there, not existent. And for you to see and understand and give meaning to their missing experience is in itself a profoundly meaningful missing experience. I can't tell you how many times I've heard these words. Wow, nobody ever got that before. Nobody ever told me that before. That makes so much sense. Thank you. You give people that. It's a game changer. It really is. They may be extremely intelligent and not even realize how much they lack emotional dimension and texture and experience of the world of emotion. They may not know how illiterate they are because they're so out of touch. And you ask them what they're feeling and they don't know. There was a poverty of mirroring. Nobody reflected back to them and helped them to learn what their experience was, what it meant, how to put words to it, and how to interpret it, how to interpret other people. You ask them what they feel and they answer with a thought, or they answer with, I don't know. And sometimes the way to get to the emotion is you ask them what they're feeling in their body, because it may be that they have tightness in their stomach, or if they feel a tightness in their throat, it may have to do with grief. It may have to do with tears caught in the throat. It may have to do with unvoiced, unexpressed feelings. So to help them become aware of the throat and take it a little further, ask them if they can go anywhere with it or if it has any words. We need to help them begin to notice what they feel in their body and begin to learn about their emotion. And they can. They don't know they can. They don't even know why it's important, but they can. And when they do begin to learn about emotion, they feel very liberated by it. They feel free. They feel more open. Now, the Bermuda Triangle is a complex of feelings that this is a sort of a term that I coined because there is a real complex that many children of neglect, myself included, feel about our parents. Because on one hand, our parents suffered so mercilessly. I know my parents did, and many of our parents went through so much hell that it makes sense that they made terrible mistakes with us. And on one hand, we can really understand that and feel tremendous grief on their behalf, as well as the grief of what we feel about our own lives based on what their trauma bestowed upon us as being the intergenerational heir of their history. So there's grief for them, there's grief for ourselves, and all the missed experiences, all the lost joy and pleasure and growth and learning that we didn't get because they were so tortured, or they were so limited, or they were so robbed. So there's grief. There's also anger because they failed us in these terrible ways that harmed us, that hurt us, that made us suffer, that made us miss out on things. So there's plenty to be angry about. And we are. And many children of neglect are estranged from their parents because they're so mad about their parents failing them in so many ways and all the things that they missed out on. Or the parents that are traumatized and become alcoholic or addict because of it, and the way they suffered as children of alcoholics and addicts. So they have many reasons to be angry. And then there's the guilt about the anger. But they suffered so much, but I'm so angry. And the tension between all these three is like a shipwreck. So I call it the Bermuda Triangle because we have these three poles, and they all make so much sense, and they're so valid and so real, and they're so, like, one is unrelenting against the other. It's a tug of war inside, and that feels like a shipwreck. So I call it the Bermuda Triangle, and I validate all three because they all make so much sense. And it's a kind of torture in itself to be in this shipwreck. And it's real. They feel it. They struggle with it. We can only validate and see if we can comfort and empathize with these three poles. They're all great suffering.